As any of you that follow the particulars of the conspiracy world, you know how frustrating it can be even when you're pretty sure about something. There's always that dog chasing its tail aspect. Now, just trying to be positive, but to fix any of this stuff that the pundits of conspiracy world talk about, there's like two essential things that need to happen, and I have not seen any sign of that. One is that a gigantic amount of people need to speak out. I mean, there's a lot of people going to protests, but if you've noticed, the government has made whole new departments of half police, half militarized, whatever. There's like 4 groups of them, and I don't even know the names of them. You know, that hooked up with the TSA and the Homeland Security, and they're right there at all these protests with their, you know, their unbreakable shields and their guns and their disemboweled empathy. And then the protesters, they just scream, you know, and then they go online to these pages and they fight amongst themselves. One guy says, oh, no, that guy's a plant, and the other guy says, no, you're stupid, and it didn't go anywhere. And now we got, you know, the classic Bilderberg conference in England. how all these people got over there, you know how it costs to go to England? Like $2,000. And I just can't watch that. I mean, the Bilderberg stuff, people just go there and chant at cars going by. And like Alex Jones will go into the hotel or something, and he's just been filming how he's persecuted, and it's all about him, you know, and like, yeah, that exposes a reality, but, you know, that it doesn't solve anything. We're at a point where we need to solve something. We're pretty aware of the main elements of the problem. And the main element of the main element is the fact that the world outnumbers these people. And you would think that people would be sick of taxes. And, you know, I just realized, you know, it's impossible to get ahead. When, you know, the idea that they take taxes out of your wages each paycheck. I mean, there's just something so wrong about that. Just essentially. It should just be just something that you do if you want to, and then they can punish you if you want. But even that's whack. But they don't even want to trust people. They want their money. So they take your money. I had my stock account garnished out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere. There was no notice for me to come and appear or do anything. They just, yeah, it was like what happened in Cyprus to people. And I even saw the facsimile of the broker at the stock company having these conversations of notes back and forth with the IRS official, and they don't tell me about this, where they're asking how much money does he have in there, you know, all this kind of stuff, and it's just such betrayal. And people are kept down by the fact that they don't have money to hire lawyers and do anything like that, and that's what they want. There's just got to be something else to do other than going and chanting at these rallies and antagonizing the cops. You know, let's say I met a guy today who claims that he knows Adam Kokesh personally, and that he's even better friends with Kokesh's close friends, and how it's impossible he's a federal plant, and everything I say about him being a hoax is BS, and just a typical thing where you're arguing with somebody who might just be lying their ass off. I mean, just because he says he knows him doesn't mean he does. But, I mean, everyone says, well, where's the proof? Where's the proof? There's no way to prove it unless you gotta really go out of your way. But I don't think it's inappropriate to go off of instinct and personal experience of what you've seen before. You know, you got, I got my, I probably look kind of funny. I got this thing on the bridge of my nose because I got attacked. But, yeah, I'm kind of beaten up physically and mentally. But, you know, I just stick it out there to try to get somewhere and get to know something. And it's so, you get to the point where that feeling of enlightenment when you learn, the hidden truths of things, whether it's the hidden truths of world history and the hypothetical things about the moon and the Great Flood and who caused it and what we really are and what we might have been, and how things are still suppressed for who knows why, reason after reason. And how could they do that? And how could that many chemtrails be going across the sky and nobody does anything? No matter if something's as glaring as that, the government spokesman just gets on the mainstream controlled television and says, "No, you're crazy. Those are contrails, not chemtrails." Yeah. Doesn't matter how many independent scientists test the groundwater, aluminum, barium, residue content. And the test that they do about you get past a certain point of aluminum in your food, the effects is eventually going to happen on you. Nobody has any rights. I mean, that's what it comes down to. When they're chipping away at the Constitution, it's always funny, and they're going to such an extreme. We got people like Janet Napolitano, like we had Janet Reno before. It's just like, really, these man-hating lesbians are in charge of all these men. Barack Obama, that's such a joke. Just the very fact that he glaringly hides his history leads you to have credence to say anything about him that you have out of gut instinct that makes sense to you. Because he's obviously lying. He's lying about this, and it doesn't matter. All the judges are placed in the district courts to block any pursuit on any of this stuff. And I just want people to realize that we don't have any rights, and that is the reason to just sit back in mass. Say, no, we're not participating in your thing anymore. And just not do something that they need us to do, something. But I can't imagine that. I cannot imagine, like employers or owners of businesses risking their little nest egg to do right by the workers in defiance of the government. And that's what would need to happen to have an actual effect. No, we're not taking this anymore. They're okay with paying their 40% in taxes as long as they make $1 million. You say, okay, well, we'll give you $800,000 if we can have $1 million. And the government sets up that tax bracket of people to be happy like that, while everybody else is totally oppressed and depressed and all the great effects of all that. Oh, God. I don't even know why I'm making this one, but I had 2 videos deleted off my account. I hate YouTube's new format. I just hate it. And I do that too, these social networking pages. Just when you're liking how it is, they make it boring. So your individuality that you've set up on your network and your page just gets all blurred and, just thrown into the matrix of commercialism and conformity and yuck. When they did that with MySpace, I was just like, I'm out of here. And they forced you to change your Facebook. It's like, all these things like that show that you don't have any say, whether it's in the recreational world or the government world or any of this. And, I've been motivated to make my videos and stuff, but it's really affected my motivation in life. What I went through with my parents' death and all the things that I was forced to pay for, and how the government doesn't care if someone dies. You would think you would get like a note in the mail or something. We're sorry for your loss, Your mother contributed to our little scam for 50 years of her life, and we'd like to, extend our appreciation. And, when they bring bodies back from the war across, it doesn't make sense that they did it. They never show them. We're told that they're in there under the flag. I bet they just dump them. I bet they're never brought to any cemetery. They don't even bury the boxes. They just have the ceremony when everybody leaves, and then they take the coffin back and they use it again. I would not doubt that that is exactly what the government does every time they have some ceremony for the dead of the military. I know I'm sounding real dejected and stuff. I'm kind of hurting bad, and my life's not doing good, and the Bilderberg thing's coming up, and I got a friend telling me, oh, don't do anything after Mercury's in retrograde. It's like, well, when that happens is pretty much when my new life is going to start. And she says, whatever you start and when Mercury's in retrograde, it's just going to fail. So it's just like, okay, so this one thing that I have to look forward to is going to fail because of that. Because of a solar system set up that I have no say about. But I am a little depressed about these things where you don't have any choice or say or rights. I want some rights. I've never been suicidal or anything. I don't see how anyone could do that, but I really am blown away by this and how we gotta just sit back and watch this circus. I'm tired of all these things I know about the conspiracy pundits and the most likely truth of them working for them, and because, you know, if they were a real threat to that, they would have been shut down. And we got crazy Adam Kokesh. He was just arrested again, and he just got out of jail right away again, and that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. They really want to nail you. They'll set you up, and you'll be in there for a long time. He's doing this as a spokesperson about drug use. You know how easy it would be for them to set him up and just keep him in prison. And he gets out. But then I got to deal with some guy saying, hey, I know him, man, he's okay. At least somebody's speaking out against this and trying to... It's like, yeah, but don't you get it? If his fearlessness at doing that kind of stuff is rooted in the fact that nothing ever really happens to him except these most likely choreographed events by phony cops. That's the way it looks. Because he does these moves when he gets taken down or taken back. They never, you know, outright beat his ass or anything like they do to the other people. And he just does dumb things now. He's like, oh, we're going to smoke some marijuana in front of the White House as if... And get it. And he's like the Pied Piper. He gets all these people to follow him. And you know how many people he's gotten arrested? Did you ever hear about them getting out of jail? It's just... Damn, I mean, oh, man. My nose is killing me. But... And then the people that speak out against them, like me, I just get trashed. I'm pretty sure there's something transfixed on my account. Each one of my vids, they're out there, and then they get views. Some of them will get like 100 views in a couple of days, but then nothing. But there are a few that maybe it's the way I set up my tags, but I flooded them with tags. They just stop being seen. And it's like there's a apex or a quota of what I'm allowed as far as views and stuff like that. Whereas other people go viral and, you know, I'm talking about the same big issues that they are. And, you know, occasionally I'll see my thumbnail up in a search, but sometimes I'll test it. I'll put in like an actual title like mine and I don't even come up. And you ever notice when, like when they talk about the imminent threat of martial law and how it's coming, when they show all the cops really amplifying their inappropriate behavior, the narrators that they cut to are the Christopher Greens, the Adam Kokesh, the Alex Jones. It's always these guys that have these shows and talk the same talk and walk the same walk, and they're just instigating people to basically stick their neck out to get shot. And nothing really ever happens to them. And they never try something logistical. They try to get you to go to these things and confront the cops, but whereas what they could do is they never start like a tax strike rally. My idea is to start a tribunal. Like maybe start it off as a mock trial, but still make it real and get lawyers involved and just find out and network and find out who's sick of this and make a courtroom of the people that has nothing to do with the government and take the government to court. and say, no, we're not paying taxes until you conform to this tribunal that we're setting up because you work for us. But they would never do that. Never. I just don't see anything really happening other than people being put in danger. And that just seems to be business as usual. The pundits make money. Adam Kokesh must be rich. He flies all over the place. Luke Rudowski flies all over Europe. Where do they get the money for that? Alex Jones is rich. And now Mark Dice is working with Alex Jones. And I remember just not too long ago, he used to trash on Alex Jones worse than me. Like, how did that happen? These people are, I think they're plants. I think they're agents just kind of doing crowd control. And, prepping the meat for the big cooking that's bound to happen. Regrettably, I think something big's going to happen this year.